So on part 2 of your exam, we're going to start breaking down some of the orders like we have been. For instance, for those of you who choose to write this down, that's up to you. So in other words, with the 2 blue bullets or dashes, for instance, in the lower right-hand corner, if we had mentioned what an ungulate would be, and it has a 4-chambered stomach, so that means they're a ruminant, not an animal that has a cecum, because those are 2 totally different structures. What that means, does anyone know in human terms what a cecum is? It is part of the intestine, but which one? It's part of the large intestine. That's right, okay? And what that does is that works for absorption, unlike the ruminants, which is your bovine family, okay? That would have that rumen, reticulum, abomasum, and omasum. Those are 4 different chambers of a cow's or cattle, steer, bulls, whatever stomach that would have that structure instead of a cecum, okay? So for instance, and then on that orange line where it says O for order, if we know it's an ungulate, you got one of 2 choices. Do you know what they are by chance? The orders. First of all, what is an ungulate? A mammal with a what? With a hoof, okay? So, with that, what is it that might have an ungulate, and I should have even number toes on their foot. I don't have that up there. So you got 2 choices. Do we know what they are? It's either parasodactyly or artodactyly. Yes, artodactyly. That's right. Okay, so these are matching questions, so it's characteristics like these that we put in a sentence, okay? So who is it that's prolific but has teeth adapted for an herbivorous diet? So, well, we need to know what prolific means. Now, we're not just pulling these terms out of the air. This is what we had discussed with your orders of mammals. Does any of this sound familiar? Yes? No? Okay, because it's been a while since we have gone over those. Okay, so that's where this information is coming from. Okay, some of you that had those handed back later, you see there's a line through number 11. We had mentioned on Friday it was just luck of the draw. There were 2 forms out there. I had changed question 11 on the first one, but not on the second one, even though I had the correct selection. So that's why you see the line. Deceive you. It's just one of the aspects. It just fell through the cracks. Wasn't intentional. Okay, so this part 2 that we're going over, that is on Friday. Now, track meet. Does that sound correct for Howard Wood and O'Gorman, correct? Okay, so is that the typical number of people that affects? Friday, who is gone for sure that we know of or absent? And this is a normal track day then, is that what we're anticipating? Okay. So again, we were supposed to be scheduled to be gone tomorrow, you same number of people, but that's not the case. Obviously your track meet has been is it postponed or canceled? Okay, so you will not be making that up. Okay, so with that, for those of you who are gone, we will begin human biology with the skeletal muscular system next week. So it's going to, at some point in time, come not beforehand. You can do it on Thursday if you want, but at some point next week, come in here and get that made up. If you choose to. I would advise not doing or not making it up, but I think you would agree that I'll have choices. But so with that, there's a lot of matching on here, because remember, this was only over the first 15 or 17. There's probably about another 10 after this. So this and the rest is on part 1. Correct? Wow. Yes. And some multiple choice questions. You want to go over the rest of these? I just put these up so you had somewhat of an idea of what they would possibly be worded like. Correct. That's just to point you in the right direction. We could, but I thought that might get to be a little too many words. Yes? No? We're not, that it would be too much? Okay, fair enough. All right, so that's why we're going over them now. And I think that would make sense. Okay? So, just jotted a few notes down here. In regards to respiration, all mammals are lung breathers. Okay? So that means those lungs have to be able to expand. Well, what causes it? What's a muscle that does that? Yeah, the diaphragm. Okay? That's right. Okay. And what are some properties of newborns' milk for a mammal, whether it's a baby deer, a baby horse, baby cow, any one of those? What are some concept or some components of that milk that's vital for that young one? What's in it? Proteins, fats, and sugars. Okay, probably the most important one. Well, they're all important, but if you had to place a priority on any one of them, which do you think is the most important? Probably the fats, because what do those animals need to do really, really quick? They need to gain weight and put it on fast. And for anyone who knows, when you get older, okay, you can ask anybody, as far as losing weight gets to be a little more tough, because the amount of fat that's taken in is not burned off as quickly. Okay. So how do animals control their body temperature? Insulated is what makes a mammal, and that is it has what? Fur or hair. Any one of those. So yeah, that's kind of, sometimes you got to remember what you're pointing at. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Just, you think that's it's probably fine. Okay. So if that's what keeps them warm, if their body temperature is going up, Well, then how do they let themselves cool off to bring their body temperature back down? You do the same thing as humans. Yeah, and that's not the only way. We're not going to talk about vasodilation, but that is how that would occur. Okay. Do all mammals have the same type of teeth? No, they would be adapted for what? What they eat, their diet. So one of the things that we had talked about, and some of the seniors are starting that as well. If you look at an animal in the family of Euricidae, which is that of the bears, combine or compare that to an animal in the bovine family, which could be water buffalo or even domesticated cattle, do they have any similarities in their teeth? Yes, because they both have what that does a cutting action, kind of like a scissors. Yeah, they both have incisors, but you might be thinking, well, bears are carnivores, right? But they still have incisors, okay? And with cattle, whether domesticated or wild cattle like buffalo or bison, do they have molars? They got molars. Do carnivores like big cats and bears have molars? That's where the similarity ends, okay? So why would you not find the other two types of teeth, which are what and what in a bovine? Canines is one, and bicuspids, okay? Why are those not present in giraffes, you said Cape buffaloes, water buffaloes, cattle? Why not? Yeah, there's no need for them. So if there's no need for something, natural selection will select them to lose that trait. Okay? Who's a proboscidean? Do we know the order Proboscidean? Now, it's kind of a little concerning because I'm seeing lots of blank looks out there. And maybe it's just my imagination, but do these, hold that thought, do these look familiar? All of these. Parasitaclia, Proboscidea, primates, Insectivora, Rodentia. This is your order. Okay? So if we find Proboscidea, who are they? Okay? So yes, there's Asian and African elephants, but were there any other species of elephants before them? Mammoths is one. Well, how would you know you're looking at a mammoth then? Yeah, that's why it was called a woolly. I don't know. Does that mean? I suppose it means curly. Okay. So what else besides a mammoth is in Proboscidea? Obviously, an elephant is in there. And if you follow teams in the Summit League, what is it? IPFW, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, their mascot is another type of elephant. Starts with an M. They're in the same conference as USD and SDSU, NDSU. Anybody? You ever heard of the mastodons? Okay, yeah. So a mastodon is also a type of elephant then as well. So even though a rhinoceros and a hippopotamus might look a lot like that of a proboscidean, are they in the same order? The answer to that would be no. Otherwise, we would say that they would be included on here, but they're not. Okay, so a rhinoceros and hippopotamus have 3 toes on each foot. And if we're talking about toes on a foot, we're talking about an ungulate because they have a hoof. So, which order is that? Artodactylia or Paracedactylia? Paracedactylia, because there's an odd number of toes on their foot. And it's a hooved mammal. Okay? So being endothermic, does that allow mammals to colonize the entire planet? Anything from the North Pole to the South Pole? Yes? No? Polar bear. Find them in the North Pole or South Pole? Up in the north. Okay. Are they the only mammals found there? No. You have Arctic foxes as well. So an extremely cold climate. So geckos, find them in the North and South Pole? No, why not? Yeah, they're tropical, but are they endothermic? No, they're cold-blooded. They are ectothermic. Okay. Okay. So, in order to have a very high metabolism, what 2 things, and that means warm-bloodedness, what 2 things does any mammal, bird, human have to stay warm-blooded? Lots of what and what? Nutrients is one. Someone said it, but they just didn't realize, I think. Not water. Lots of oxygen. Okay? So you have to meet those high energy demands with oxygen and nutrients. Okay? So what does it mean to be nocturnal? So Jerry back there, up above the door, if we had something like a peregrine falcon or a gold eagle, a red-tailed hawk, okay, we know that owls are what type of hunters? At night, so what's that called? Nocturnal. Hawks, falcons, eagles are not nocturnal, but diurnal. That means they would hunt during the day. So, even like some of your dogs, okay, it's not that they're nocturnal, but can they see color very well? No, they cannot. Okay, and that's a trait that that mammalian animal has kept, because they came out at night, so they don't see color very well. Okay. And what would some examples of aquatic carnivores be? What's an orca? Killer whale. Obviously aquatic. Are they herbivores or carnivores? Yeah, they're carnivores. But are they the only aquatic carnivore? No. Dolphins are as well. They're in the same order as that of the killer whale. But who else might be an aquatic carnivore? I have river otters on there. I don't think that really makes much sense. No. Those are fish. Sea lions. What order is that? Starts with a P. Pinnipedia. Pinnipedia, Pinnipedia. Okay. So I think with that we will stop at that point in time. Okay. And continue with this tomorrow. So my suggestion, look at that vocab that was handed back to you, the rest of it, and look at some of these orders that we see here. Okay? Are we good for the rest of the hour? Is there anything else you'd like to go over? Maybe you enjoy this. Maybe this is mind-numbing. Jeez, you just hit the nail on the head there. maybe, maybe not. So, nothing? Alright, we'll pick up with this again tomorrow.